Sup folks, my name's Deadman, and a while ago I made a video about my 3 theories about how I think Jake the dog died in Adventure Time, and to this day that remains my most viewed video by a fucking landslide. Like, it's not even close to my other videos. And because of that, you can imagine it's been requested more than once. So today I'm actually going to share how I think Finn died. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and join me as a grown man overanalyzes the living hell of a kid's show one more time. I say one more like I'm not going to do this 1,000 more times. Anyway, let's get it started.
Huh? Oh.
My first theory is the shortest and easiest one. Finn most likely just died in battle. Like, Finn was literally born a hero. He shows up to save the day whenever he's needed all the time, even when he's a literal infant, as we can see in the last episode of Fionna Cake. That, coupled with when he lost his absolute marbles going band for band with a bunch of ghouls and goblins in Dungeon Train, just doubles down on the notion that Finn is just meant to fight evil until he drops. So what if one day he just did? Farmworld Finn shows us no matter where Finn is or what he's doing or how peaceful life is, he will always end up wielding some crazy ass weapon and defending the lives of the weak and innocents, even if it just cost him his life. This next one's one of my heavier theories, and I am definitely gonna have to put a warning on this video because of it. But part of me believes, what if Finn took his own life? And I don't mean that in the depressing real world, like, you know, rope, pills, gun, the depressing way. Not like that. What if Finn was just ready to die shortly after Jake died and no longer fought with the same fire that he always had before? In Fionna Cake, we learned 2 things about adult Finn. The first is that he was still leaning on and even fully depending on Jake to help him with adventures and fights that he 100% could do himself. Like, he even opts to using the Jake suit long after the episode where the entire episode was about how much Jake did not like the Jake suit, and that was before the age started getting to him. So you can only imagine the strain and pain on his body after.
Chef, top flip off the treehouse! No! Ride him, cowboy! Whoa!
The second thing we learn about adult Finn is that after Jake's death, Finn has gone full savage mode. I'm talking no armor, no sword, no plan, literally no vision half the fucking time. I mean, don't get me wrong, don't get it twisted. It's fucking baller seeing how battle-hardened and experienced an adult Finn is, but all of this just points towards the notion that Finn no longer cares about his own well-being. He'd obviously previously put himself through so much pain beforehand that he doesn't even notice several fully open slashes on his back. Slashes he got while fighting a giant magic bear, barehanded, that he encountered trekking blindfolded in the Forbidden Woods that a woman who he trusts more than anyone at the time specifically told him not to fucking go to. What I'm going to say here is that while Finn is showing clear signs of survival's guilt and self-destructive tendencies, he filters it all out through attempting to help Simon through his own emotional turmoil. In the episode Little Brother, Jake tells Shelby that the surefire way of giving your little brother clarity and a sense of self is...
It's easy. You just give him something sharp and get him to fight bad guys.
Sound familiar? This is the exact way Finn handles Simon, and while this is clearly pointless because Simon's a scrawny little nerd, it does show us that Finn is trying to stay active in his friends' lives and going about his newfound, like, lone hero of the kingdom position the only way he can think of, by doing what he believes Jake would do. This silly little theory of mine suggests that after Jake's death, Finn just sort of crumbled internally but not externally. Did that make any sense, or am I talking on my ass right now? What I mean to say is that as depressed and lonely as he was on the inside, his body still grew. He just kept getting more and more muscle and scars and experience, and his body just kept adapting to whatever he threw at it, so he just kept throwing himself into harder battles, hoping that the next monster was stronger than the last one. Hoping he never finds his way out of this next dungeon or forest or whatever he's in. Hoping that someone or something will be what reunites him with his brother. Because while he is more than ready to see Jake again, he is not going down without a fight. On a slightly higher note, the final idea I had is, well, what if Finn just sort of died in his sleep? Hear me out before you get the pitchforks out. In Together Again, we see Finn on what appears to be his first day in the dead world, and by his reaction we can tell he's not surprised to be dead. If anything, he's kind of fucking vibing, man's low-key chilling with it. Now, we know by now Jake has been dead for decades, and while Finn can still be driven to nightmares about it, either naturally or demon-fueled, he shakes it off no problem upon waking up.
Pretty convincing hallucination. I really thought I was young again, and that Jake was still alive, and we were blocking it up like old times.
This shows us that he's long since accepted Jake's death, and not to say moved on so much as like no longer afraid of change. Like he knows he'll see Jake soon enough, and then they'll reincarnate, and then it's Adventure Time all over again. So he's just waiting for that day to happen. That's why it sends such a shock to his system when he learns that when he's finally reunited with Jake, he learns that actually Jake doesn't want to be reincarnated. He is happy where all of his adventures and past lives and experiences have led him, having now achieved inner peace and clarity and straight up nirvana, and it got him to the 50th Dead World, where every soul's end game. The actual heaven of Adventure Time. My theory here is that Finn did exactly what Jake always wanted him to do. He kept going. He kept fighting. He kept winning. He kept helping those around him. He kept being a hero right up until his eyes closed for the very last time. And when those eyes opened again, he found himself in the land of the dead. All his scars were gone. All the grief and the struggle and the pain ended, both inside and out. And he was just ready, fully accepting where he was and what got him here.
Oh, look, Finn.
Shh. We gotta find Jake so we can be reborn together.
That's not gonna work.
Last patch note I have for this little theory is, don't get me wrong, we all know it's for animation expenses and voice actor rights and merchandising and yada yada yada. But to me, personally to me, it means a lot that when Finn learned that he could choose to be any age and any form he wanted, he chose his tried and true traditional 18-year-old form with the metal arm. Like, that's around the age where his adventure started ramping up in voltage, and it wasn't about just beat the thing or just stab the demon or just find the key. Shit started getting real. This is when he had to do an insane amount of growing up in a very short time. Now, to Finn, that time was the closest he'd ever gotten to reaching what he could only assume was a state of nirvana that Jake was on since season fucking 2. That's not the last Finn that Jake saw before he died, but that's the Finn that's ready to see his brother again. Allow me to wrap this long-ass story up. We here at Deadmantoons Studio, which I guess is now being called Unchained Fable, that's a completely different story. We believe that Jake succeeded in nurturing both his brother and his children enough to survive without him, and that's exactly what Finn did. He refused to stop moving forward and fought the good fight until death himself was sure they could take him without a fight. And even then, he still had to get him into sleep. Not that dying was enough to stop this fucking maniac from running the ones. Alright, thank you all for joining me on this sad little journey once again. Thank you all for listening, all the likes. If you can leave any comments, be my guest. I actually had to go and rewatch about 6 seasons and 2 spin-off shows worth of Adventure Time to build all these theories. And I don't know, looking back, I'm proud of myself. I'm glad I was able to do this again. Don't get me wrong, I'm not expecting another banger, but I'm glad I still have it in me. The reason I started this channel, clearly I still got it. So I'm happy with that. Deadmantoons, signing off till next time.
Way to guard the castle, mullet!
I'm sure you'll hit him next throw, sir.
I missed on purpose!